Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. It's an honor to be here. I doubt there's anyone in this room that wouldn't want justice if your loved ones were murdered or wrongfully in prison for a crime they didn't commit. That was my job, to ensure that justice was achieved. In 1980, I became a proud member of the Illinois State Police. I believed in what we did, and I believed that we would make a difference. We were told that no one was above the law, and that we would always do the right thing, no matter what. We were given the power that could affect a person's life, for better or for worse. We were given the power to take away a person's life, if necessary and justified. Our oath to serve and to protect. Our oath to always search for the truth, to absolve the innocent, and to find the guilty. For 25 years of my adult life, I believed in that oath, and I dedicated myself to my job. From starting out in Chicago to ending up here in Champaign, I rose through the ranks of the Illinois State Police, and eventually I became the investigations commander over a 9-county area right here in Champaign, Illinois, East Central Illinois. In 2000, I was assigned to review a 14-year-old murder case. The murder of Dyke and Karen Rhodes, a young newlywed couple in Paris, Illinois. They were found in their bedroom, stabbed over 50 times. 2 men were found guilty for committing that crime, Randy Stido and Herb Whitlock. 1 man was sentenced to death, the other man to life in prison without parole. I was told by my peers when I received this assignment that we'd gotten the right guys. I could just rubber stamp my review. I had no reason to doubt my own. After all, we were the Illinois State Police. We don't make mistakes, and we would never be a part of putting innocent men in prison. But the Innocence Project claimed the 2 men were innocent. Not just that, I also met with the family members of Dyke and Karen Rhodes. Dyke was the brother, the husband to Karen Rhodes, one of the murdered couples. Like the people that defended Stido and Whitlock, the Rhodes family didn't believe the state's version of the truth that they were given either. I saw the pain and I listened to their questions they had asked law enforcement for years and they had refused to answer. My review would leave more questions than answers, leads and motives that had been ignored, witnesses that had been intimidated, manipulated or purposely ignored, and their information never documented. 2 unbelievable eyewitnesses had made the state's case. A town drunk and a mentally unstable drug addict that we caught in so many lies, I lost count. My review was filled with suspicions of wrongdoing and corruption by the investigators and the prosecutor in the original investigation. My review not only questioned the guilt of the 2 convicted men, but also revealed cover-ups of other suspects that were purposely ignored in the investigation. There were so many red flags in this egregious case, I was both ashamed and alarmed. By far the worst case I'd ever seen in my history in the Illinois State Police. But politics became more important than searching for the truth. My captain and I were called into the 2nd floor of the Illinois State Police Command. My ideals and my faith in a department that I'd lived my entire life believing in were shattered by 3 little words when my commander would tell me reopening the Rhodes case and addressing all these questions was too politically sensitive. For the last 5 years of my career, myself and many others in the state police would continually be stonewalled in searching for the truth and trying to reopen the Rhodes case by a command that was willing to ignore innocent men in prison while the real killers remained free, all for the sake of politics, image, and money. My family's life has become like a roller coaster of ups and downs for the last 11 years. May 8th, 2003, after 3 years of being first told this case was too politically sensitive, fed up and frustrated, with support from an FBI agent and many people in the Illinois State Police, some of my very own, I went to our internal investigations to turn in my commanders for impeding a criminal investigation. But before I left the city limits of Springfield, my commanders were told that I had turned them in for impeding a criminal investigation. In fact, I would learn later that our internal investigations never even investigated my two commanders. And it was I who was retaliated against and removed away from investigations and investigating this case forever. But then came some vindication in this case. The day after I was removed from investigations, federal judge Michael McCuskey, who's right here in Urbana, ordered the state of Illinois to free Randy Steidel or retry him because the original jury had not heard the truth. After a lengthy investigation by the Illinois Attorney General's office, Lisa Madigan, she too agreed that evidence favorable to their defense had been purposely withheld by the prosecution. In 2004, after Randy Steidel was in prison 12 years on death row, 17 total years, he finally walked out a free man. My command thought they had silenced me when they moved me to patrol. With no effective whistleblower laws in Illinois, they had, but I turned to our United States Constitution. At the time, government employees were provided First Amendment protection, freedom of speech, if they spoke out on a matter of public concern. In 2005, I won a 2-week federal trial right here in Urbana against my commanders for violating those First Amendment protections. The jury and federal judge agreed, yes, it was a matter of public concern, leaving innocent men in prison, the real killers free, the state police refusing to investigate corruption in its own command. It's a matter of public concern for all of us. In 2008, there was even more vindication when the state of Illinois' 4th District Appellate Court ruled that evidence favorable to Herb Whitlock's case had also been withheld, and he would have likely been freed if the jury had heard all the truth. By now, and after 21 years of rotting in prison, Herb Whitlock was finally freed. So now the two men that I had claimed were innocent had been freed. Two federal judges, a state appellate court, the Illinois Attorney General, and a jury of my peers had now agreed on what my command had ignored since the year 2000. But then the roller coaster ride took a turn for the worse, not just for my family, but for every citizen in this country. In 2008, in a California case, the United States Supreme Court changed the rules. The government employees no longer had First Amendment, freedom of speech protections while on the job, even if speaking out on government corruption or criminal conduct. The state of Illinois appealed my case based on that ruling. And in 2008, my case was reversed when the United States 7th Circuit Court of Appeals ruled with one line. Mr. Callahan spoke not as a citizen, but as a public employee, and that speech is not entitled to protection by the First Amendment. For 25 years, ladies and gentlemen, when I put my gun and badge on, never once when I went to work did I not think I wasn't a United States citizen. But what's so frightening? Police officers still have the power to take away life, but not the freedom of speech to speak out if it's done unjustly. Randy and Herb also sued the state of Illinois for their wrongful convictions. And because of that, they would remain targets in a scandalous continuation of intimidation, manipulation, lies, and cover-ups yet to be disclosed to the public. Why? Because millions of dollars are now paid to private defense attorneys to hide or twist the truth, asking the taxpayers of this state to pay for the state's defendants that Steidel and Whitlock have sued, yet seeking to seal the very testimony and evidence of their scandalous admissions and conduct. From a prosecutor who now admits to the very crimes he convicted others for, to the police officers who admit their deceit, cover-up, and hypocrisy, cut by their own words and by their own documents, admitting the lack of credibility of the two eyewitnesses, even admitting to not believing them. Yet they ignored, covered up, or manipulated those lies to look like truth. admitting to giving whiskey and beer to the two alcoholics before they fabricated their stories against Randy and Herb. Even admitting, ladies and gentlemen, they lacked probable cause to arrest Randy and Herb in an actual document to the FBI, yet still using the eyewitnesses' lies just a few weeks later to arrest the two men. They've admitted that there were other suspects, wealthy suspects, politically powerful suspects, suspects they admit they didn't investigate, despite the several motives they acknowledge existed. Their admissions giving credibility to all my suspicions. For my family and many others that fought this fight, the roller coaster ride continued with unscrupulous attacks. Our government's fix for the truth has become, if it can't silence those that speak out, then to try and discredit them. I have emails from public relations men conspiring with the defense attorneys that fight Randy and Herb's civil case of strategies formulated to discredit myself, my wife, and others. From trying to secretly tape record me, to baiting me to make statements so I can be sued, to asking others to lie despite their contradicting words already in FBI, state police, and other reports, to spreading the false rumors that, like I said, defame my wife and I. At the same time, these public relations men conspired with the civil defense attorneys. They were being paid $8,000 a month to discredit myself and those others by one of the state's acknowledged suspects in the Rhodes murders, the very suspect that had been purposely ignored in the original investigation. Even more scandalous, recently, we've learned, while conspiring with the defense attorneys and the suspect, I have pay vouchers and I have emails where at the same time these public relations men were on the Illinois appellate prosecutor's payroll, sharing secret grand jury information with the suspect in a murder. The same PR men connected to the very judges and prosecutors who now try and force Lisa Madigan and us, the taxpayers, to keep an open faucet of money running to these defense attorneys that represent the state against Randy Steidel and Herb Whitlock. Are these conflicts of interest, or is it a conspiracy to ensure our blind faith in government's versions of the truth? I don't know who killed Dyke and Karen Rhodes. My department didn't give me the chance to find that out. And other investigators since have also publicly stated they too were stymied in their attempts to objectively investigate the Rhodes case since. We have created an adversarial system, and I've learned firsthand, it's not about justice anymore. It's about winning or losing, about always looking right, even if it's a lie. I am guilty of questioning what I was told to believe was the truth by a department I loved and at one time never doubted, a department at one time I was willing to lay my life down for. It's a version of the truth I couldn't accept. I am guilty of questioning those who violated their oath. I am guilty of wanting to solve an unsolved homicide. I am guilty for wanting to give closure to the victims of a terrible tragedy. Everything in my book has been confirmed by the government itself, from the corrupt politicians and power broker that has been convicted, to the wrongful convictions of Randy Steidel and Herb Whitlock, to the hypocrisy and criminal conduct of those who violated their oaths, admitted by their words, not by my words. This has been my roller coaster ride, but my strength has been my wife, Lily, who's here today, and by my son, that's always been by my side. But we are not the victims. I think we can't ever forget the victims in any case like this, whether it's Randy and Herb or Dyke and Karen. Because the victims are Dyke and Karen Rhodes, who still lay 6 feet under the ground with no justice. Their families, who quietly suffer with no one to trust or turn to for help. Randy Steidel and Herb Whitlock, who lost 1/3 of their lives because of lies, deceit, and cover-up. and to any other victim or family betrayed by a system that fails to justly serve the people they are sworn to protect. I came here tonight, ladies and gentlemen, because we need change, and we need accountability for the actions of the people we place our trust in. We need integrity restored back in a system that has long been flawed. I came here tonight, ladies and gentlemen, because I would like to believe again. Thank you, and thank you, Adam. I appreciate that.